haulage during the war. Stayed in France right up until the late 2010s, when it was brought back to this country by a gentleman called Richard Wilcox. Joe and Laura purchased it not long after and have restored it to the standard you see it today. That's the big Fowler Road locomotive called Foremost. Aveling and Porter steamroller. This one was actually built in 1884, believe it or not. And when it was new, it cost a priceless sum of £410. Now just imagine, back in 1884, that would be a lot of money. So it's called English Rose. It's owned by Ian Caulfield from Carsington. Went new to the Acton board in London, stayed with them for a few years before it passed up to Scotland to a contractor from the Bridge of John. It's been restored by Ian over the last few years. Regularly attends one or two rallies over the summer months. That's English Rose, the green coloured steamroller. Aveling and Porters were the biggest builders of steamrollers in the country, followed closely by John Fowler. Am I safe here, Dave? Or I'm all right? Yeah, I know. Well, I know what Mount's like. I don't know. Now, we said the last steamroller, the Green Aveling, was one of the earliest built in 1884. Now we have one of the last to be built, 1943. This was built by Aveling and Barford, a subsidiary of Aveling and Porter. It's owned by Peter and Emma Jacobs from Swaddling Co. It went new to Baines of Potton. They were contractors. They were later taken over by Edison's. This one actually finished up at the Royal Liverpool Children's Hospital, where it was used as a plaything for the kids. I'd seen it when it came from there. It had got all faces painted over it. And it was rescued by Phil Hallowell from North Derbyshire, but both Phil and another owner, John Wood from Wineswell, didn't do anything with it. When Peter and Emma got it, it was restored to how you see it today. Now we have an Aveling and Porter Showman's engine. This one was actually built as a steamroller, and it went new to a Mr. Shepherd of Bagworth in Leicestershire. A little bit of black smoke for us. It's owned by the Robinsons of Bradford in Yorkshire. As I say, it went new to a Mr. Shepherd of Bagworth in Leicestershire. It later finished up with Leicestershire County Council, and it came into preservation with one of Leicestershire's earliest preservationists, a gentleman called Tom Burton from Market Harborough. Tom kept it for a few years, and he sold it on to the Wheat Brothers from Mount Sorrel. They had it and didn't do anything with it, and then it was acquired by the Robinsons and converted to how you see it today. Good afternoon, Christian. Are you all right? Little Garrett steam tractor, 4CD type. Garrett's built some 200 of these particular machines. Very popular, used on light haulage. This one went new to Ulverston Council in Lancashire. Then it moved into the Lancashire County Council fleet. It was saved for preservation by a gentleman called Arthur Wedgwood from Blackpool. Didn't stop with him for too long, and it passed to a gentleman from Weybridge in Surrey called Sir John Samuel. Since then, it's had numerous owners, and the last three of which all come from Derbyshire, and as I say, it's owned today by Dave Thorpe from the Dugdale Garage up there at Thorpe. Now we have a pair of Fowler ploughing engines called Lion and Tiger. These big engines are used for ploughing fields. amongst other jobs, and also I've seen them graduate. They're of the BB1 type. This particular pair went new to Richardson's of Keysby near Bourne in Lincolnshire. They were actually saved for preservation in quite a funny way. When World War II broke out, the War Department were looking for any sort of scrap metal. And Mr. Richardson decided that you couldn't scrap these things and sell them as scrap metal. So what he did, he put them in a barn where the farm was and cocooned them in hay. So when the ministry man came, he'd just look in the barn and all he'd see is a load of hay, all stacked up. And that's what saved those engines for preservation. During the preservation life, they've had numerous owners. Herbert Gurnhill from Saxby in Lincolnshire. He was one of the first preservation owners. They lived near me at a place called Old Dalby in Leicestershire for quite a number of years when a gentleman called Cyril Grice owned them. Cyril did quite a bit with them. They took them to, well, Rempston and Six Hill rallies, but they are big machines to travel on the road. Ransom, Sims and Jeffries traction engine, 42035 the maker's number of this one. Built as late as 1932. Now this is interesting in that the boiler on this engine, the big round boiler just behind the smoke box there, it's of an 8-horse persuasion, shall we say. And it's only a 6 horsepower registered engine, so we assume the boiler on this engine was one that was lying in spare in Ransom's yard at Ipswich. It spent its working life in Norfolk with a firm called Reynolds of Aldborough. It was sold to a dealer from Burnham Market called Arthur Mason, and Arthur Mason sold it to a gentleman from Leicestershire called John Vernon. He lived near Market Bosworth in Leicestershire. John kept it along with the family for, well, 40 odd years, but reluctantly they had to sell it and it went to Ireland. But now it's back in this country and it's owned by Chris from Fullow in Derbyshire. Hold on, I've just got to take a tablet here. What's this? Hold on, my heart's going quick. Well, I didn't think you'd ever get on it, Dave. That's Dave Marris with this big Fowler Road locomotive called Empress. He usually lets the daughters look after it, but oh, he's clamped down this time. Empress was built for the Ministry of Munitions. It stayed with them until the 1940s when it was acquired by the Cuthberts of Sheffield. They were the last steam operators of agricultural equipment in Sheffield. It's been owned by Dave Marris and family for a number of years now. Now we have a fresh entry in the programme. It's a Marshall traction engine built at Gainsborough in 1911. Maker's number 69303, and it's owned by the Saunders family from Doncaster Way. This one went new into Bedfordshire, as you can see from the reg plate on it, but it finished up working as Stonecrusher in Cornwall. And it's stayed in Cornwall for many years. I can remember seeing it when I was a teenager on my travels down there to look at traction engines. It's been in Lincolnshire for quite a number of years now with the Smith family of Alford. They decided to sell it and it's just recently been purchased by the Saunders family. Russell England from North Nottinghamshire. All right, Russell. Good. All right, mate, thank you. This one is called Bentman Queen, built by John Fowler. It actually rolled the Pentland Hills, which are just south of Edinburgh. It came into preservation, believe it or not, in the Dorset area with a gentleman called Robert Crabb. It's been with Russell for quite a number of years now, and looks after it really well. Familiar figure at all the local rallies. Marshall steamroller, owned by the Saxton family from Lichfield in Staffordshire. This particular Marshall was one of 4 of the Q type to survive into preservation. They've all got consecutive numbers. One lives in Ireland, but it's been converted to a tractor. But all work for Lindsay County Council, as you can see from the canopy top. It came into preservation with a man called John Liniger from Barking Racing in Lincolnshire. But sadly, John never did anything with it. He passed away, and at his